G'day fellas, and welcome to a casted game, spawning in on the west side of the map, playing as the English, opening us up with a barracks in the colour purple. We've got Bodia. And on the east side of the map, playing in the colour red as the Ottomans, we've got Mr. Merlin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the pit. We're here watching Mr. Merlin, and for anybody who doesn't know who Mr. Merlin is, he's a fellow content creator, a great Age of Empires 4 creator. So I'm going to leave a link in the description to where you can catch his content. Does very similar content to me. I would say that that we're both similar casters. We've got pretty similar styles as well, and I'll be honest, his accent's probably a little bit better than mine. So now that I've talked him up enough, let's get into this game and talk a little bit about this matchup, because this is an interesting matchup. We've got the English, we've got the Ottomans, two civilizations that we quite often see going up against each other. Now, I don't want to talk too much about it, but the Patreon, I've done, I think, probably about 3 castings of English versus Ottomans. It seems to be a really common matchup on the ladder. I guess it's just the way that the maps go. I guess they're probably both civilizations that you're kind of happy to pick onto open maps, and as a result of that, you start seeing that matchup a fair bit more. It's kind of like China and Holy Roman Empire, right? Like, you see them a lot on closed maps because both of them are good at closed maps. So we look in at Mr. Merlin's opening, and we do see the military schools coming down towards the front of the base. He's got a nice little spot here on the backside. Gold out on the front, so not the best. Also quite exposed here, so when those men-at-arms do come in, looks like they're going to be able to do quite a lot of damage. Now, over on the west side, those men-at-arms are moving through, and we do see a number of men-at-arms. So that's the second men-at-arm coming out, third men-at-arm coming out. So normally you'd only see like maybe a 2 men-at-arm opening. Sometimes you see a 3 opening, but this is quite a lot. And he's actually rallying a lot of, I was going to say, he's rallying a lot of vills here to food, which makes me think he's probably going to open up more than 3 men-at-arms, which is kind of wild. But we do see a couple of idle vills now moving out over, looking to chop this tree. So he's going to be thinking about potentially dropping down a house. He is out of resources at this point. I mean, he's technically got enough for 1. Okay. Yeah, you know what? If you're going to go 2, you might as well go 3. If you're going to go 3, you might as well go 4. If you're going to go 4, might as well go 5. Just make them all, buddy. What does it matter, buddy? But we do see he's moving in under the range of the town center. Got to be so careful under the town center. But that TC only just firing off a single arrow. And Mr. Merlin spotting that out straight away and then looking to get walls up. And look at these quick walls coming in from Mr. Merlin. Doesn't actually delete the ends here. And instead just goes for the single wall. See the men-at-arm all the way at the end. And just kind of falls back. I think that men-at-arms is blocking for the moment. But you can see that he jumps inside the town center. Forces this away. Very smart move there from Mr. Merlin. And now just going to be using the spearman just to kind of leverage aggro. Wants to draw aggro in here. Oh, look at this. This is actually super smart. If he can start attacking that, force the men-at-arms to attack the spearman, what he can then do is then draw it in under the town center and fire again. So let's see if he picks that up. The other thing to note is he could also just be taking out the scout here. He's a lot of damage coming through on this scout. Men-at-arms going to get focused down now. Or rather, spearman going to get focused down now. Let's see if he brings it back here. Mr. Merlin got to do the right thing. Bring it back. Pop all the vills in the town center. Go, 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 go. All the vills in the town center. Go, Mr. Merlin. Go do it. You can do it. A little bit late. A little bit late. It's better than never. And might also get the scout. I think he's got, yeah, I think he gets the scout here as well. Beautiful stuff from Mr. Merlin. But now, a little bit of trouble in paradise all of a sudden as the next men-at-arms comes in. Welcome to round number 2. Second men-at-arms coming in. Mr. Merlin, couple idle villagers. Not enough to get up to the feudal age. The men-at-arms goes down, but that's okay. You know why? There's more men-at-arms coming. In fact, there are so many damn men-at-arms coming. Bodhi's not making any more men-at-arms at the moment, so maybe he said, you know what? Maybe it's time for a feudal age. No, wait. No, he hasn't. Bodhi right now honing, or rather just like living his best life out here. Just spamming out men-at-arms, and I mean, why not, right? Like, you're playing English. What do you care? Feudal men-at-arms, Dark Age men-at-arms, it's all the same stuff. Why do you need to age up if your plan is just to make only men-at-arms anyway? But does a good job, and it looks like Mr. Merlin's going to be able to age up, and Bodia spots that out, so less pressure going to be applied to this gold mine. But this is a great map for it, right? The pit is a really good map for the English, opening up with the men-at-arms, just simply because the gold mine, well, the gold mine's not protected by the town center. Stone mine, not protected by the town center. Wood line, not protected by the town center. The best he's got is like this one out here, but there's really only just a tiny little wood line in the berries that are kind of protected by the town center. Everything else is out there. And that sucks for Mr. Merlin. That sucks really, really badly. So spamming through on the age up, 5 villagers going up here. Starting to stack up a few resources on Bodia's side. We don't see any mill coming out from just yet. I see the amount of gold he's got. I'm thinking like maybe he wants to go for a wheelbarrow there. But maybe it's just a good idea that he gets up to the next stage. But look, he's still spamming men-at-arms at this point. I mean, he's lost how many men-at-arms? He's got 3 in the enemy base, 2 still coming across the map. Now, keep in mind, these guys are good players, right? But Bodhi's a Conqueror player. So he knows what he's doing. This is not like we're watching some bronze player with a bronze strategy. Because, I mean, that's what it is. Let's be honest. This is a bronze strategy. I'm going to call it out when I see it. This is a bronze level strategy. But I wonder if it can actually work. And I think that's probably, you know, the question. Can the bronze strategy actually work in Conqueror? Because at the moment, it's looking like it's probably going to. It's looking really solid the way it's closing out Mr. Merlin from his base. Now, what does Mr. Merlin need to do to react to this? Ideally, what we want to see him do is drop down a stable, maybe drop down a blacksmith, look to get +1 melee armor as quickly as he can. And he's got to make sure that he goes for the meta. Don't be going for Anatolian Hills, or don't be going for field work. Be going for meta drums nice and early. And that's going to enable you to get that +2 melee armor. And again, you want to compound that with the extra, the fitted leatherwork coming out, which is the +1 melee armor. Did see it up here. Fitted leatherwork. So you want to invest into that. It can be a little bit hard considering we don't have any gold at the moment. So that it's going to be something to work towards. Coming within the range of the town center. 15 vills loaded up in that TC. Taking out one of the men-at-arms. Do the right thing. And makes the right decision. Goes for the stable. And we do see an Abbey of Kings coming down for Bodia. I like this. I like this a lot. This is a super smart... Look at the men-at-arms on the map right now. Wow. He's looping everywhere. 3 at the front, 1 around the back, 1 around the side, the other one around the bottom side. He's got 6 men-at-arms just chilling out at the moment. Falls back. And now he's got to be careful, right? Like, he doesn't want to pick this fight. Even though you've got a stronger unit, you're outnumbered, you're outgunned. So you just got to fall back, and that's the right thing to do. Abbey of Kings is going to be fine. And I like the mid-map placement here. It's kind of like, it just saves on that walk distance. You can put it right next to the town center. But by doing that, you're just gonna delay your units from getting back onto the field. Men-at-arms coming in on the wood line. Mr. Merlin not opting for the closer wood, instead going for wood a bit further away. Looks like he takes out multiple men-at-arms here. So getting a good job. So Mr. Merlin doing the right thing on this opening here. Don't tell me he went for Anatolian Hills. Oh, he totally did. That's 8 sheep, isn't it? That's 8 sheep. Ooh, that's a big mistake. So it's rare that I call out big mistakes, but that is a big mistake coming in from Mr. Merlin right now. So Mr. Merlin probably should have been going for meta drums. And why is that a big mistake? It's a big mistake because he's already got 3 sheep that he had. And he already had sheep on the ground. And he's got berries. Of course, he's got a focus a bit more on food with regard to his units. Because the Spahi is the main unit that he wants to be going for, which is, once again, the correct decision against men-at-arms. But then the problem you're going to have is, what if Bodia starts mixing in spearmen? Now you've got a problem, right? Because how are you going to deal with the spearmen? Obviously, the answer is archers. But still, once again, it's one of those things where it creates complexity in what you've got. Men-at-arms continuing to move out. Going to be able to clean up that wolf. We'll take a look from the perspective of Bodia, and we do see he's actually beginning to take a hunt to the north of his base, so not opting for any kind of farms at this stage. Just going to be really sticking it with the neutral food, I guess we could probably call it. And now it looks like Bodia actually might get caught out of position, but we do see Fortitude coming in from Mr. Merlin. Probably not the best use, and he gets annihilated in the blink of an eye there by the men-at-arms. And that, my friends, is why we don't use Fortitude. It might seem good, but it's not good. Men-at-arms do very well against these Spahi like this when they don't have their meta buffs. That's the big thing, right? At the moment, 0 armor. And you can call these men-at-arms like these are half upgraded at the moment. But we still see Mr. Merlin like trading out relatively efficiently. Nice little micro from him here. I would love to see meta drums coming in, or at least making a meta. I think another big thing going up against this is you want to look for field work. So field work is the 2 imams in the in the first tier. And I wouldn't normally recommend it, but I think in a matchup like this where you're playing against men-at-arms, your enemy doesn't have mobility, you do. You can just pull back these low health units and go and heal them up. So if you want to, if you want to get your imams and just kind of leave them under the town center, I think that's a super duper good play. But you just got to be careful not to lose them, because once you've lost them, that's it. There's no coming back from that. And you can't heal yourself with imams. You can heal each other, but if one of them dies, both of them will die. Not really, but it makes it a lot more exposed, that second one. All right, well, we're right on board with Bodia and see how he's doing and see whether he decides to add in any more units of different types, or whether he just keeps making men-at-arms. It's just more men-at-arms. He's literally making only men-at-arms. We're 10 minutes into this game and not a single other unit has been made. I mean, obviously villages have been made here as well. I find it interesting that he's actually like pushing out of his base, and we do see +1 coming through. He's going for ranged armor, which to me doesn't really make sense because we haven't seen any ranged units coming out of Merlin just yet. It's been melee units. So I would have been thinking, you know, like your fitted leatherwork's going to be really good. You'd be looking for your +1 melee attacks or your bloomery. These are going to be really key upgrades, but instead it goes for iron undermesh. You start to see eco upgrades coming through as well. Wheelbarrow makes his villagers run a little bit faster, so out here exposed to the north, if he does have a raid or have to deal with a raid, he's going to be able to run a little bit faster. And I like the fact we've only got 5 vills out here, right? Makes a lot of sense. Now we enter this stage in the game where the men-at-arms numbers, they're kind of petering out. And over on the other side of the map, Mr. Merlin is going ham with production. So this is, Mr. Merlin is hitting his stride. But the thing to note for Mr. Merlin is, where is that second military school? We need to see a second military school added in. And we don't actually see it. So he's not picked up the stone for it yet. He drops the first one down, but not the second one. So all this time he could have had a second military school pumping out units. He hasn't. Raid comes in. It's going to mean absolutely nothing. Now what Mr. Merlin could actually do here, look to try and do a fortitude snipe down on that, because fortitude does increase the attack rate of your siege. So if you're sieging down an outpost like this, and let's see, you might look to do it here. Nope, just going to do a bit of a run through. Fair enough. So you can look to siege that down, but it's probably not worth it. The men-at-arms will make their way over. We do hear now behind that, the Vizier point comes through, and he does go for field work. So definitely the right play here. And he's got the meta out. Let's see if he moves the meta over onto melee defense, because that's what he needs here. Also needs to pick up that +1. We talked about it earlier. He's got gold in the bank. It's not a whole lot. Outpost's going to be going down, though. Needs to repair it. Doesn't get the repair off. And now those imams moving up to the front. Got to be so careful with them. He's looking to try and get some repairs in here, or some heals in. And it looks like Sparky going to be going down. Needs these Sparky back in his base immediately. And Imam in trouble. Imam in trouble. We just talked about this. He needs to keep these alive. He's literally called the Imams in, and now they get focused down within the first 30 seconds of being alive. Second one manages to make it out alive. He's going to maintain healing, but he's got to keep running. All right, Sparky numbers looking good. We're focusing on that Imam, the meta. It's these special units, and he does now have it on melee defense. Still that +1, not yet coming in. Imam going to go down here. Imam, don't do it. Imam, run away! Oh, that's so painful. That's so painful. In the blink of an eye, all those Vizier points are gone. But Mr. Merlin holds, and he does a pretty convincing hold. So that looked solid, right? He didn't have +1. He's finally getting fitted leatherwork coming through now. It's a bit late at 12 minutes, but it's better late than never. And definitely the right choice for him. Now, it's important, I was about to say, he needs to move into archers. He sees the very first non-men-at-arm unit of this game at the 12-minute mark, and it's going to be some spearmen. So he needs to make sure he's got a nice little archer mass building up. You want to have at least 15, 20 archers, just in case those spearmen numbers start to get a little bit crazy. But the men-at-arms obviously going to be the main problem throughout this. So he still needs to continue investing into the Sparky. And he's doing a good thing, moving in over onto the west side, looking for a raid once again over on that western position. But we do see a couple of spearmen out here already, just standing guard. And more men-at-arms coming in. And I can't help but feel like, had Mr. Merlin actually gone for full walls this game, he'd be in such a better spot, right? Like, imagine full walls across here, full walls up along this side, and then you control when the fight happens. You control the tempo of those fights. All right, Sparky running in. Let's watch as the micro comes in for Mr. Merlin. Begins hitting down the villagers. Does a good job. Nice little surround there. But now attention turned towards the mill. Definitely not the right target. Spearman. Is he got fortitude on? No, I think he had it on for a little bit. But now attack speed. Going to be the name of the game. As he's able to take down this outpost very quickly, but we see a counterattack building over on the east side. And you can see the spearman mixed in with the man-at-arms. Going to make it a little bit harder to deal, but he's only got one spearman out. So, I mean, I say that he's added in another unit, but has he really? Because there's 17 men-at-arms right now. Outpost over on the west side does go down. Men-at-arms going to continue running through the base. Those Sparky need to get back here ASAP. He can't be taking this fight without the Sparky. Needs to look to try and kite these units out. Do not let that meta die. He is surrounded. Get him out of there. Good job, Mr. Merlin. And now continues to fall back. At the moment, the villager counts. Very even, but Merlin's got 17 idols. So very hard for him to focus at the moment. Town Center got a lot of villagers in there. Still yet to see that +1 ranged attack coming through for Merlin, despite this large ball of archers that he's building up and throwing away archers on the front line. You just want to see him kiting units out a little bit more effectively here. And now indeed going to be able to do that. Where are those Sparky though? Those Sparky just miles away. Need to be back here immediately. But he's doing a decent job of slowly getting rid of these men-at-arms. The problem is there's so many, and if they get through onto the wood line, and speaking of wood lines, hello? Anybody order a lumber camp? Yeah, we just got one. Where do you want it? Yeah, just put it down at there. We'll deal with it later. Then they don't deal with it later. But at least they got, I was going to say at least they got their wheelbarrows. They don't have their wheelbarrows. They're going to be a little bit slower. Meta finally coming back. Looks like it's going to be the melee bonus that he gets. Interestingly, the meta doesn't provide that bonus to villagers. So don't use them to tank up. And now they do come back. Meta going to get focused down. Don't lose the meta. It's an expensive unit. No, don't do it like that. I think he's actually focusing down the meta. Oh, that's so close. Manages to keep it alive on 12 health. So at this point, Merlin's up 32 military pop to 13. So he's got a pretty decent lead here. So I think at this point, he can start to look to push the advantage. The key is that he's going to... So he's playing against full men-at-arms. So what does Merlin want to do here? Ideally, I'd be saying look for a castle age here, Merlin. I think that's going to be really solid. You've got a great... You just had a wonderful military victory. Your enemy's going to need time to mass up their units. So go for a full castle age and go for a full wall off as well. Wall off this middle section. Wall off this side completely. You know, you can just put a nice little wall in here. If you want to grab these berries, you can just chuck a gate in, put a mill on this side. That kind of thing. But we do now see a little bit of a push coming out. So I did see some spearmen in there. He's up to 15 men-at-arms once again. And look at this, Bodia. He is 100% giga-chatting this. He's like, you know what? We're not even going castle, baby. We are literally we're making only men-at-arms today. We are only making men-at-arms. And he's got spearmen, but I'm not tempted at all to call this a unit. This is a misclick at most. He's got 4 spearmen in here. Against pretty much full Spahi, right? Like, he could get away with making 100% spearmen here, and that wouldn't be a misclick. And once again, misclicking on another spearman. I'm not going to accept that. Still need that second military school. Ideally, at this point, 16 minutes, we want to have a third military school. So, Mr. Merlin definitely got to work on his military school timings. That's for sure. Can always be a little bit hard as the Ottomans dealing with that kind of aggression. You do forget about the stone, but it's always very handy having that extra stone as the Ottomans. Maybe second town center can be thrown down. Maybe get some emplacements. Chuck up a stone wall on one side of the map once you hit castle age. Because if you did it in feudal, you'd probably get raged at because that is the wrong move, kid. That is the wrong move. We don't build stone walls in feudal. That's just not cricket, all right? Bodia's numbers starting to build up all of a sudden again. Look at this. 32 military pop against the 48 of Merlin. Merlin's still producing units, going for a heavy Spahi amount. But I would just note that the bigger that these masses get, the harder it's going to be for Mr. Merlin. And the reason why is because he doesn't actually have any solid damage against this. Now, he's got +1s, and he looks to pick the fight. A ballsy move, considering I don't think he's got line of sight there. No, he does have line of sight. So looks to try and pick the fight. Single unit composition up against the dual comp. And he's getting eaten alive. Does he not have... Is he on attack speed or something? What's he on? He's on attack speed. Oh, he doesn't have the melee armor. And that's going to... Look at the men-at-arms. Holy... Okay, all right. I was calling this... What was I calling it? A Bronze League strategy not too long ago. It's starting to move up. Maybe this is like a Silver League strategy. Can I get away with that? This is starting to look a little bit concerning. Was the single mistake just not having the meta on the melee drums? And he's got it on the melee drums now. But I feel like it's too late for that. You needed it on the melee drums in the fight. And now the numbers are starting to even up. And you've got men-at-arms here up against Spahi. And the men-at-arms are always... Or rather, men-at-arms against archers. And the men-at-arms are always going to do work compared to those. It's going to be so hard because you don't even have to look at the men-at-arms. Whereas you've got to spend 100% of your time focusing down these men-at-arms with your archers. But we can see that the numbers here now going to dwindle underneath the town center. Villager count starting to be a little bit worrisome here. Bodia not actually adding in a second town center. Just going with the one town center play, but adding in a lot of farms on the backside. Huge amount of farms back here. Music starting to lift as well. Merlin trying his best to hold on. Pushing back this single unit composition. You can see just the occasional single, like, spearman just running in. Like, this is clearly not intentional. This is not part of it. Like, he is not, oh, I'm going to attack with 25 men-at-arms and a single spearman. Like, that is not the plan. The plan is obviously just men-at-arms, and he's just misclicking. It's like, oh, that's right. I forgot to make only men-at-arms again. You know, maybe one of his friends was like, hey, I bet you can't beat this guy with the just men-at-arms. And he's like, all right, bet. And he's winning the bet at the moment. Men-at-arms just destroying Merlin in the second age. So I feel like Merlin's definitely really far behind at this point. How does he even deal with mass men-at-arms when he's this far behind? I think the answer's got to be in a castle age. And we can see he's actually going to castle. So this is the right choice. Needs to age up really quickly and then get crossbowmen out. Or knights, but ideally crossbows. They're going to be the main thing for you. The other option that you could look to are the Janissaries. If he gets Janissary company upon the age up, he could potentially swing this battle with those Janissaries. Now, Janissaries aren't the best units against men-at-arms, but I tell you what, they're a damn lot better than archers. Needs to drop another archery range down. There we go. That's going to get his veterancy through. Needs to fall back with these archers. Doesn't want to fight. And we do hear something coming through. I don't know what it was. I heard drums. Maybe was he switching? Oh, don't tell me he just ordered the meta drums from the home city. Oh no. That was that point. He needed that point. He needed that point to do something with it. We're at the 20-minute mark and he's aging up. He's trying to age up at least more men-at-arms heading into the base. Merlin trying his best to get up. But now the consequence of building that landmark too far away from the town center reveals itself, and it is the death of villagers. Many villagers. In fact, we've seen plenty of villagers go down this game for both players. And now underneath the town center, all of the archers getting cleaned up. He's just not microing. I think he's almost given up at this point because now the men-at-arms are going to be moving back into the wood line, and that's where it starts to get really hard. We hear deletes coming through. He's got a wall off, tries to quick wall the villagers on the backside. Very smart move from Merlin. Buys himself a little bit more time, but he's kind of trapped himself between a rock and a hard place at this point in time, or maybe a forest and a hard place, trying to get these meta out of here. More men-at-arms coming in, rallying in, and look at this. Look at the base right now of Bodia. He's just full English men-at-arms. Abia King's back here. Doesn't even need it. Doesn't even care about it. Full farm transition coming in now. 24 farms for him. He is living his best life. Let's switch it over to the income per minute. He's on 1,400 gold or food a minute. 400 gold a minute. He is spamming out those men-at-arms still. We see 29 men-at-arms at this point. And a single crossbow. A single crossbow stands upon the field here for Mr. Merlin. Something tells me that single crossbow is not going to have a fun time. And the villager chops through. He chops through with the villager onto the wood line. And good game gets called immediately with the chop through. Mr. Merlin losing to 100% men-at-arms. I didn't think I would ever see the day. But now I have to ask the question, is 100% men-at-arms actually sleeper OP? Is it really a conk strategy? And was it just hiding out in bronze all this time? Fellas, go check out Mr. Merlin. I'll leave a link in the description. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.